Hi everybody, I wanted to come on here and alchemize something that I'm working through and really speak about it and get the messages out there, because I remember about a year ago I had an Akashic Records reading, and one of the things was just like a random message that my perspectives of bullying are like really needed in the spiritual community. And I'm going through something right now that, you know, normally I flip on my camera and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go. I'm like so confident, like speech cheeks, open throat, open heart, open solar plexus, I'm ready. But within my past week, I'm shaking, I'm nervous, etc. So this is kind of my second time making a video after this, and I feel like it's really vulnerable because like I could just cry right now. Because of, you know, what this brings up and triggers within me. So I'm going to share a little bit about my story in the past week and then alchemize it, because I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it and validate it myself. So whenever I bleed, I take the whole time off. That's what all women are really meant to do, and I'm here to revolutionize the way that women see themselves and exist within this planet. And so that's something that I do for myself and my body, and plus if I don't do it, the whole month is messed up. So I was gone for 5 days and really just resting and being in the quantum realms and quantum reality, and just really like aligning into what I'm desiring to create. And this was like summer solstice gateway, so like the 5th day of bleeding was the solstice. And I don't go on my phone, airplane mode, Wi-Fi off, don't touch it really for the 5 days. And when I came back on Instagram, which is where I host most of my business stuff, I came back to like over 1,000 new followers and so many comments and messages and likes and all this stuff, which felt really big for me before this time period. And this basically what happened was I just had a reel that got a lot of views, and I know that like in my mind right now it's like, oh my god, like my ego is like, that's not a lot, like you're over dramatic. And so I'm like recognizing, okay, like that's my shadow. That's what I'm afraid people will say to me. But no, I understand my body, and this is literally how my body's reacting to this. And so I know that my body is speaking the truth. Validating myself. So I had like 2,700 followers going upwards as I was going into my bleed. And then now, as of today, I have almost 5,500. So my following count doubled essentially. And I think that reel has like over 50,000 views now. And on a side note, if anyone's wondering what's the reel, the reel is me performing quantum healing, which is a really powerful and new form of healing that a lot of people haven't heard about yet. And it works with the light language. It works with the language of the light, works with the clearing the Akashic realms, clearing your subconscious mind. It works so deep, and I would love to describe it further, but like I'm healing the validity of it through this. Regardless, it's like 30 seconds of me clearing Akashic records, clearing subconscious mind, using the 7 sacred rays, and doing a little bit of light language for like 30 seconds. And as we know, when we are seen, oftentimes we're seen by those that we serve, that we're meant to serve, and that we deeply do serve. Yeah. And then we're also seen by those that we're not meant to serve. Especially when we get into the idea or the concept of viral videos, which is, you know, so common now through reels and all the stuff now. It's very easy to go viral. So when that happens, you know, and I'm going to be really honest and vulnerable with you guys, I won't go into the whole story, but there was another time in my incarnation where I was really seen. And so going upwards, hitting into that 5K, realms. I was like, okay, 2,000, like that's fine. Like I had another viral reel where I went from like 1,000 to 2,000 something. I was like, that's okay. I'm a little bit nervous to post. My nervous system's a little bit adjusting, but for whatever reason, once it went 4,000, my nervous system couldn't compute. I couldn't go on Instagram for a day or two. I was freaking out. Before, when I was, you know, more seen in the earthly realms, I had around 14,000 followers, and I was seen in something that got over 1 million views. Seen by a lot of people, so to speak. And that, of course, came with unconditional amounts of love and gratitude and blessings. And then on the other side of that came with, you know, so much hate and persecution that I literally went offline and hid for months and stopped telling anybody about my personal life and had to start writing books to get my thoughts out, and losing all of my friends, literally all of my friends. I had a mini business at the time too, and that actually grew after that, so that's fine, but just the heart. And just letting you guys know, this is gonna be vulnerable. Like my physical body is like shaking right now. Yeah. And so from that trauma, that happened 2018. And that was the thing that like I was awake, like when you first start waking up in your first year. But that is what like ego death me, who I am, you know, like Sarah, like she's dead, like not my ego anymore. So that like massively woke me up. But beginning to now be seen again in the public eye with a lot of people, you know, 3 years after, is a whole new world. Back then, I was just seen for something really great that happened to me. I met Taylor Swift. She really liked me for the whole year. Like it's an interesting story. I won't go into details about that, but I was seen. Even just saying that, I'm like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. I don't want people to know me. I don't want people to know that. I don't want people to know all parts of me, but I'm like, no, they're gonna know you now. It's safe. You're safe to come out. You're safe, you're light, you're pure, you're unconditional. You're here to serve. And so now being seen again is like, oh, I'm scared. Like, I'm meant to be seen. I have 4 Leo placements: Leo Sun, Leo Rising, Mercury in Leo, North Node Leo. Literally meant to be seen. And as we approach Leo season 2 and Lionsgate Portal, there's a new moon in Leo on the Lionsgate Portal peak. I'm just putting that out there because I've been excited about that one since February. I'm getting distracted because I'm scared to talk about this. What I really want to anchor in on here is the hate, right? It is the people that say things about you, whether it's rumors or whether it's truth, or whether it's just people don't understand you. And, you know, in the spiritual community, and especially, you know, when you're in the completion phase of the Starseed journey, and if you're interested in more about all the different phases of the Starseed journey, I have a masterclass coming out. Link will be in my bio. You can catch the replay if you can't make it live, or if you're watching this after the live show. But I'm in the phase where it's like, okay, like I've self-actualized as a starseed now. Very confident in my multidimensionality. I know that starseeds are real. Nobody can convince me otherwise. You know, I trust in myself and my abilities. I'm willing, ready, and able, and have been seen and made a lot of money from my, you know, starseed abilities. Some people call it gifts. I use abilities because everyone has these abilities. They're not special. And so within this phase is really being seen for your abilities. Like you get to a time on the starseed journey, guys, where people are gonna see you for being a starseed, and not everybody will like it. And so what I want to say before I go into this part is that quantum healing was a gift to me, right? It was it's not a gift, but it was given to me as, you know, a gift. I was doing quantum healing before I knew what it was. And I was in Mount Shasta and I was doing cosmic Akashic Records readings. And at some parts within these readings, I'd be activating people's starseed abilities and clearing, you know, Atlantean timelines or Maledeck timelines or Orion timelines. And I would be using light language in my hands. And I thought it was just light language, but it's quantum healing. And I was gifted quantum healing. My guides, one morning, they said, we're giving you a service and it's going to mix all of your gifts together. And I didn't know what it was going to be. At the point I was like, okay, I read the Akashic Records and I can do Reiki. So like maybe a mix of those, which it is. Not using Reiki, but a different form of energy healing. And then it took 2 months to activate within me. And then I started doing these sessions and they were like mind-blowing what happens when you do a quantum healing. I literally do a quantum healing on abundance on myself and go into like the root cause, because quantum healing goes to the root cause of everything, you know, past life, subconscious, ancestral, and this life, and it heals from the root up. And so I went into like financial debt and financial slavery with the governments through, you know, the last several centuries and millennia of Earth. And the next day after clearing this, literally the next morning, I get a second tax return. That does not happen. My dad was even like, that's not normal. Like, how did you get that? Within 24 hours of me clearing financial debt from the government, through my ancestral line, through my Akashic Records, my subconscious in this life, I get money from the government. Quantum healing, another one, another one. I did a clearing on a fear that I was existing and having with somebody who I was living with. 5 minutes after I finished the healing, don't leave my room, don't talk to them, they don't know anything about spirituality, that fear gets triggered in them for them to clear. Quantum healing. I worked on a woman, helped her clear fears of water and drowning and moving all those past lives out and womb activation. Next day, she finds a dolphin portal for womb healing. She can only get to the portal if she swims. She now can swim because she's not afraid. Quantum healing. Another woman, totally can't speak about anything spiritual with her friends or her family. Quantum healing. Her friends and her family start to ask her about spiritual stuff now. This is what happens in quantum healing. It's powerful. Side note. And so I started posting light language reels last November, December when I started doing quantum healing, because it mixes light language, Akashic Records, clearing, 7 sacred rays, so much healing stuff. It's really, quantum healing is literally just multiple modalities all at once, and they go to the root cause. That's really quantum healing. And I'm gonna get more aligned. I am aligned. I think that needed to come out because that felt really good. 1313. Reminding me of my truth. Anyways, I launched a quantum activations bundle, which was 6 15-ish so minutes of quantum healing, which is a lot of energy to do quantum healings, and they're super powerful. So 6 of those things, I think we go abundance, fear, we clear lack, we clear fear, we clear mistrust, we clear, I'm just trying to remember because it's been a while, we clear unworthiness, we clear disempowerment, and there's one other one, safety. We clear unsafety, which is so powerful. We activate then abundance and peace through prosperity through peace. We activate safety, we activate trust, we activate love, we activate worthiness, and we activate empowerment. I was really guided to launch that with that reel, which was 30 seconds quantum healing. Anyways, so I want to get into some of the things that people were saying to me. So some of the beautiful comments that I got to receive, and by beautiful I mean hate, were, you know, and this is I'll say them and then I'll go into that. There were, you know, just the general ones of like, this is what happens when you're on drugs, or like, people gave me drugs when I was speaking like this when I was a kid. What are you even speaking? Whole bunch of just like mean jokes. But then the really bad ones that really got me were like, yep, that's what happens when you're on weed. And then the two bad ones that really, the two ones that I've got to do a lot of work on, were people calling me demonic and people saying that light language is Luciferian. So when you get a sweet, pure, angelic soul getting messages, or somebody is telling her that the work she's doing is demonic and worshiping Lucifer, fucks your mind up a little bit. The whole purpose of that stuff, the whole purpose of people hating on people that are expressing their multidimensional gifts and making them feel crazy and making them feel bad, is so that we stop doing it, so that we think that we're bad. It's mind control. Point blank. Woo! Right out there, that's exactly what that is. It's exactly what it's trying to do in like a really subtle way. It's trying to manipulate you so that you feel like your abilities as a starseed, as a multidimensional being, are bad and evil and sinful, so then you don't share them and therefore don't help the planet and the people on the planet ascend. That's why those comments come up, just on a side note, if you've ever had to go through those ones. But you know, when people hate on other people and people say those types of comments to people, and you know, what, like, I like realistically, I deleted them when I saw them, and I bypassed them, and I didn't deal with them. And what I just recognized before I started this video was that, you know, when we receive hate, I don't think that we're meant to bypass it. I don't think that we're meant to dissociate from it and ignore it and delete it and pretend like it never happened and then just focus on the good comments. I understand why we do that. And I understand my inner child was like, get all the bad guys away. But what I was really recognizing now was my soul growth comes from in taking those individual comments and seeing how they come from within, seeing how I feel that way about myself, seeing where these root from and clearing them, you know. Yeah, because when we receive hate, when we receive these comments, like, it's for a reason. And it's really hard to deal with because we don't want to, like, it's heavy emotions, right? Solar plexus, I was screaming yesterday trying to clear it from my body. And it's really intense. It's really intense, especially when you're an empath and you're sensitive and you, like, for me, I'm so sensitive. People need to talk to me like I'm like 5 sometimes because, like, I'm so sensitive. Like, I need to be treated with, like, the utmost, like, fragile kindness. And so to, like, receive that is so heavy. But I think what I really wanted to alchemize it into, this experience into, and, you know, the experience of receiving so much hate into, is actually just talking about light language and quantum healing and validating it within myself. Because that honestly made me feel like my work isn't real, like my work isn't serious, like I'm not valid, like I'm not worthy of making sales, like no one's gonna sign up for my programs, like it's not powerful. All these things from, you know, these few hate comments. But those things were already playing within my field before the comments were made. And so it's just a physical manifestation of my inner wounding. What I wanted to say and talk about within light language to kind of debunk the myth, debunk the hate, is really talk about what light language is to me. Yeah? For me, light language is a homecoming. It is the recognizance and remembrance of my cosmic self. You know, there will be people out there that you'll hear light language from and you're like, I feel that in my soul. I feel that in my body. I feel like I know you. I know you. just from hearing this light language, even if it's like 30 seconds. And that's because light language, the language of light is what I want to start calling it, is from the heart, right? It is from the heart. It's from the soul. It bypasses the mind. It bypasses the logical, linear mind. It's spoken universally. It is the universal language, and that's why it's common within starseeds. You know, we mostly just speak telepathically up there. But when we're not, or when we're communicating with other beings who aren't just purely telepathic, or when we're communicating with Earth, you know, we communicate in light language, whether it's hand movements of light language, or whether it's speaking light language. And something that I'm going to share, and it's very vulnerable, and I might cry. And that's totally okay if I cry, because it just really just validates the power of it. But sometimes when we speak light language together, to each other, it's like Earth and like the ego dissolves, and you just merge into oneness. I have like your remembrance of souls from incarnating with them, you know, in other planets, and having other experiences with them. It literally like is complete multidimensional awareness. And I used to speak light language with my last partner. I'm obviously not with him anymore, but so I'm crying because it's like intimate and vulnerable. I never share this with the public. But speaking light language together and to each other, it's like more intimate than sex. Like, it's so intimate because you're literally not speaking to each other's minds or speaking to each other's human, but you're speaking to each other's soul. And that's why light language, like, people feel it so heavily and so quickly, and it's so powerful and so rapidly, and it can heal physical, and it can heal all this stuff. It's because it's soul talk. It's soul talk. It's not a human ego speech. It's soul talk. And I think that's why it's like so hard when somebody says like that's demonic or that's Luciferian, because it's like, that's soul. That's me talking to somebody's fucking soul. That is the purest Christed light possible. Like, it's so pure. And people and you know, the versions of ourselves, you know, there's no separation. The versions of ourselves that are of the dark or actually worshiping those sides, they want us to feel like our pureness is sinful. That's the point. That's the whole basis to mind control on different planets. Been there. As the whole basis to it is to make you feel sinful for your purity, so then you stop doing it. Period. And so when I'm speaking light language, I'm intending to speak to your soul. And light language is meant to be spoken from the heart. You know, I do believe that there is a way that light language can be not of the highest love, like truth and compassion. I do believe that. And I've witnessed receiving from somebody and not feeling very good. And I think it all resides within the heart. Now, when I was doing light language with this person, it was like no intimacy involved. It was just doing it. There was no, it was like, it's like having sex without having like an intimate, deep relationship and like knowing each other's like wounds and like working through the inner work together and the shadow work together first. And it's like just going at it. That's light language without love. And I feel like, yeah, that has, you know, maybe a little bit of manipulation in it because it's not intended out of the highest love, right? But that's why it's just so important to always be heart-centered and be connected to our heart and have pure intentions, because when your intentions are pure and when your heart is pure, when you're coming from the most authentic space of compassion and service, it's purity and it heals and it helps. And that's why 50,000 people saw me speak light language on Earth in 2021. Weird things to say. Because of its impact, right? And I'm a galactic leader, let's be real. I'm a starseed leader. I'm meant to spread this stuff out. I'm meant to help other people feel safe to do this stuff on their own. And so I'm meant to lead the way. Not for you to follow me, but for me to lead and say, hey, you lead too. Come. Come. It's like my leadership is your invitation to lead yourself into your own leadership. I'm really big on leadership. I've been midway through Starseed leadership right now. And quantum healing, on the other hand, is also very real and valid because it uses light language. It mixes 7 sacred rays, which are like color frequency. It's the best way I can describe it. Like the violet flame is one of them. And clears from your Akashic records, clears from your ancestral lineage, clears from this life and all lives, and moves from the root, and it affects your quantum field because it's not working in the physical, it's working in the quantum. And so woo, 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 things happen quick when you're working in the quantum. And so, and that's so funny too, because there's these type of buses in my city and they only go every hour, and I just saw 2 go by, and that never happens. Only once an hour, and they were going the same way. It would be different if they were going the opposite way, but just saying, things are quick in the quantum. Like things can just happen and be weird and random and synchronicities. I feel like I alchemized it. Yeah, it just honestly, for a time, it made me feel like my work isn't good enough. You know, I was crying my eyes out on the floor feeling like I must not be good enough. And that's not true. There's no truth in that. No truth in that. I am good enough. And, you know, I'm grateful that I got to receive the hate. I got to receive the polarity so that I could recognize and actually speak the truth about light language and speak the truth about quantum healing for all those who would actually benefit from it, who are actually starseeds supportive of it. Because, you know, those people are just, you know, probably random, like 20, 25-year-old guys who just don't really have a life, or older. Yeah. So this is just really a message to stand in your truth. That's what I just really want to get through, because this happened to me the last time this happened. Obviously before it was so much worse. This is like minor. But you are real. Your abilities are real, and you are so valid, okay? All of your abilities or gifts, whatever you want to call them, they're valid, they're real, or else you wouldn't have them, and they wouldn't help people. And, you know, like, I think it's just really time for starseeds to believe in themselves and believe in their abilities and the impact that they have on people, because it's real. It's legitimate. You can run starseed businesses now on Earth, like I do. And it's like, I just feel like this is really a fucking massive reclamation of my starseed-led business. Because it's really like believing in the reality of it and the legitimacy of it. Like, these are actual things that help people. Like, I've, like, just on a side note, it's like, I literally have people, like, who invest a lot of money in their starseed development and growth. And so that's like a little inspiration for anybody who's like, oh, like I really want to start teaching starseed stuff or doing these starseed things. It's real. These businesses are real. And so often we feel like our abilities are not real, or our spiritual businesses aren't real because it's not like working at a bank. And so it's time to legitimize our own businesses, right? It's time to legitimize ourselves as starseeds and recognize that it's more than just a label. I remember running around this home back in February being like, starseeds is more than just a label. I want people to know this. Because it's a lifestyle we're moving into, you know, where it's real, and like communities of starseeds banding together and working together. And so beginning to validate our own abilities and the legitimacy of our own multidimensionality is like gold right now, on a side note. I hope that you benefited or got something from that. I did. So I know that it was valuable and that I'm good enough because I received so much from that experience and alchemizing that. And if you're a starseed and you're like, whoa, I like this girl's energy, I want to work with her. What I have right now, how I can serve you, is my Starseeds United Masterclass. Link will be in my bio. Again, depending on when you're watching this, you'll either catch it live or the replay. The live is on June 29th, 2021. But you can catch the replay. People always buy the replays and they're just as valuable. I also have my Quantum Healer, Quantum Teacher training. We begin on 7/7 portal, July 7th. And this is a powerful, powerful half self-paced training, half live training to teach you how to do quantum healing and to teach you all about the quantum, so then you could also teach about the quantum, make master classes, online courses, etc. It's really designed for people who are really ready to either add a service to their business, start their own spiritual business, or they just want this stuff for their own personal self-development, because I feel like it's going to be about half and half. I know that a lot of people, like, quantum healing is just so powerful for your own self-development. You're calibrating to literally the timelines that you desire to live on for the rest of your life. And so you're literally getting lifetime value. It's so powerful. There's 2 live calls, 2 hours, Quantum Teacher and Quantum Healer trainings. And then there's going to be self-paced content, which is going to be drip fed to you in the month of July. This is going to be... it's coming to you in July because I need to do the live classes first to see what's not in there and what else you need. So likely, because the Akashic Records is part of the Quantum Healer, you're getting a certification, by the way, in quantum healing, quantum teaching, and Akashic Records. So the Akashic Records training is probably going to be in the self-paced. There's probably going to be, quantum meditations, quantum teachings, embodiment practices, journal prompts, integration, more videos about the quantum, more stuff about quantum healing. You're learning how to do it on yourself. You're learning how to do it on other people. You're learning how to do group quantum healings. The return on investment on this is so, so, so valuable because of the value of quantum healings. When I first started doing quantum healings, my prices were $600, and I was getting about $650 for a 1-hour session. Most people buying the packages of almost $2,000 for 3 sessions. So realistically, the return on investment is huge. Not only that, if you're just using it for self-development, your return on investment is literally always being able to calibrate to the timelines that you desire and clearing out everything blocking you. So, yeah, that's like a lifetime of joy, peace, abundance, and bliss and pleasure. So, yeah, it's really great. I'm really excited to do this training. The link for that will also be in my bio. I also have my Starseeds bundle. This is a bundle of master classes, 3 master classes, my Galactic Activations, Quantum Healing, Starseed Activations, or 4 activations, Activate Your Cosmic Self, which is merging with your multidimensional selves on Pleiades, Arcturus, Venus, and Sirius. We have 12 strands DNA activation, which activates your abilities and multidimensionalness. We also have 12 chakra opening, clearing, and activation, which opens, your soul star and all the chakras above, including your earth star, which has so many different effects and benefits. And return to source. You're actually going to get an experience merging back into oneness, being in the void. Heals all abandonment wounds, by the way. And a light language transmission for the heart chakra is the other thing in that bundle. You can find everything else that I have. I also do Akashic Records readings. Sometimes I'll do one-on-one quantum healings, not often. But I will do quantum coaching. Rain. I've been hoping for it to rain all day. And a whole bunch of other masterclasses and stuff that you can just, I'll put the link to my official full website there too. So if you're like, okay, I just want to browse and like go shopping, have fun. Sending you all so much love.